Welcome back to Debbie's Kitchen. It's been a while since I've been here, and I'm going to explain to you today what has happened. My life had to take a hiatus to solve unexpected, life-shattering problems over this period of time and why it's relevant to Gap Tracks. When we developed Gap Tracks, we knew that there were going to be two moments where Gap Tracks is critical for ongoing organic problems that we confront in our lives, and for those big, huge, what I'm going to call doomsday moments, when it feels like doomsday. We started getting a lot of phone calls and messages and so on and so forth that, oh my God, what's going to happen? I don't know how to deal with this. All these crazy emotions that business owners and executives and professionals are going through right now, not knowing how to prepare themselves for the best of what could be a worst case scenario. Okay, well, I want to bring back, doomsday can happen in many forms. It's not just when a government takes actions that are going to affect your business. It can be life-shattering moments, a series of pitfalls, or a downhill when it feels like everything is just going downhill at the same time. The ability to have tools, a toolbox, like a little toolbox of processes and framework, nothing complex, simple stuff that you've never done before that can really change your mindset, change how you approach problems, change how you confront the moment. It's critical. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and we've made differences around the world. And when I fall into a pitfall, when my life starts to crumble, and it happens because I'm human, I go back to the toolbox because they work. So I wrote down on a piece of paper, actually it's 2 pieces of paper, why it is that I haven't been recording and posting as I had planned. But I had to put this timeline together to be able to share with you everything that's happened to me, how each one of those sequence of events has spawned off, how I felt like I was going through doomsday and trying to get myself out of it while we're launching Gap Tracks, while we're providing services to our clients, because life doesn't stop. So I'm going to explain this to you. We did the soft launch, and we're still in soft launch mode of Gap Tracks on February 12th, the day of my 56th birthday. And I was all excited, and we've been planning this for a year and a half, everything ready and fully dedicated. I had separated my time to dedicate to this from February 12th to June 12th to get this out to the world. Unfortunately, my 86-year-old father decided to take my new car out for a spin, and as he was approaching, coming into the garage, as he went into the garage, we have no idea how it happened. He misstepped, whatever. He totaled the car inside the garage. So that happened on February 18th, 6 days after the Gap Tracks soft launch. It seemed in the beginning that it was going to be fairly easy. Well, it wasn't. It's been simple, but it hasn't been easy. The car went in for a review. It was in the body shop. The insurance claimed the car to be a total loss. Yes, a total loss. My dad's 86, my mom is 80. So for 2 months, that started there. Well, that was on Tuesday, February 18th. But he also crashed in the garage and caused damage in the garage. There wasn't enough space, so we had to fix the garage. Because of all of the damage, we started trying to remove stuff from the garage. Well, my parents' house, and I posted a couple of videos of this, had 55, 60 years of stored documents, photos, memorabilia, so on and so forth. Well, the accident happened on February 18th. 3 days later, on February 21st, Friday, February 21st, my dad, after having been ill on and off since December, was diagnosed terminal with kidney failure. It's going to be a long process, a drawn-out process. So as 3 days after the car was totaled, while we're still going over the shock of going through this, he ends up at a doctor's appointment. The doctors tell him, you've got 2 choices to make. Number 1, wait until the kidneys just fail and then you move into hospice when this happens within the next few months. Or you can try dialysis, but at your age, it's more as a means to make it, less traumatic and to prolong a little bit, but maybe he won't do well in dialysis. Well, doomsday started feeling like it was starting to stack up. The car's totaled, my dad is diagnosed terminal. It's going to be a long, withdrawn process. And then what happens? So we're dealing with the insurance, we're dealing with the car, we're dealing with the garage. Now my dad, stockpiling doomsday, has doctor appointment after doctor appointment after doctor appointment after doctor appointment, blood tests, so on and so forth, to try to figure out what the best path forward for him for the remainder of his life will be. Because he was diagnosed terminal, cause and effect, And because there had been the Bane crash destruction in the garage in the car, my dad decided that he wanted to go through everything in the garage and through the house, get rid of as much as he can, put all of his life in order. And in that, we found over 40,000 pictures, slides. Remember those old slides in the carousel, transparencies, Polaroids, 8-tracks, Super 8s, VHSs, DVDs, almost 70 hours of recorded family legacy that he had recorded throughout the years. And then he decided that he wanted that to become a family legacy project and asked me to curate and to hire the company to do that. The car's been crashed, Gap Tracks is soft launched. All the time that I had scheduled for that, the car has crashed, the insurance, my dad's being diagnosed terminal, and now we've got a family legacy with over 40,000 pictures and 70 some odd hours of recorded content to be curated, transported. First it had to be transported. In doing that process, we realized that there was 50 some odd years of documents, papers, old stuff. So we had to hire another company to come in and to help us clear all of that out. Almost 1.2 tons of physical weight was removed from the house. Well, February 12th, 56th birthday, soft launch. February 18th, the car crash. February 21st, I'm diagnosed with terminal renal failure. February 23rd, my daughter had to compete. She's a high performance gymnast in San Diego. On Monday, March 3rd, the professional organizers for the house arrived. We had to separate 5 working days with 6 people, including movers and storage. March 8th, my daughter had another competition in downtown Los Angeles. On March 18th, the family picture project started. Well, if that wasn't enough, on April 2nd, my daughter's father, who lives in Brazil, where I lived for 36 years, arrived here to be able to give support to us and to my daughter, to our family, and he was here from April 2nd to April 18th. During that, my daughter was qualified for state competitions in Pasadena. For state competitions which took place on Friday, April 4th. On Sunday, April 6th, I started to feel like I was going to lose it, and I ended up Thursday while my daughter's father was here, while my dad was here. Now, none of this was planned. The only thing that was planned after a year and a half of preparation was to get Gap Tracks up and out around the world. We're still in the United States. Well, not true. We've got some learners in Brazil, and we've got a learner over in Puerto Rico. Hi, Ginny, if you see this. But we had a plan to be in other parts of the world, in other continents by now. This wasn't my plan. And I started to feel like Doomsday was taking over. It felt like I planned everything so cautiously. I planned everything so in micro detail. There was a timeline, there was a schedule, there was the reach the world, 100 million learners in a year. Well, that was for the hard launch. We're still in the soft launch mode because my life had to take a hiatus to solve unexpected, life-shattering problems. So what did I do? For the first 2 or 3 weeks, I was so busy trying to solve everything, I didn't have time to think. Then all of a sudden I got this looming feeling. Why is this happening to me? Why now? How do I get past this? How am I going to be able to take care of my dad? How am I going to be able to solve the problems with the insurance? How am I going to feel better if I'm sick? How am I going to be able to record anything with my eye? I can't open it. Why me? How do I do this? What? And I started to get this self-loathing feeling. And then I stopped. And that's page 2. Page 2. What is Gap Tracks? Why is Gap Tracks important to anybody and to everybody? Because real life happens. Shit happens, excuse the language. It happens. And when it does, we need to be the most prepared we can to excel and not to fall behind. So which dynamics did I do? Well, I went through episode 1. I put myself as a learner into Gap Tracks. And I said, I need to do these assignments. I need to hear myself. I need to hear myself. That's really weird that I'm taking a course that I give and I'm taking my own course, okay? But I did it. In track 1, stop, strategy, tools, operations, and people. But the first principle of stop is to stop. So I stopped. I made time. Each lesson's only like 15 minutes long with the assignments. The assignments can take you a little bit of time because you're dealing with something you don't know, even though they're one-pagers and they're really simple. You gotta extract that information from your brain. You gotta do a deep dive into yourself. And I said, I'm gonna do this. And then I used the framework of STOP. It's a toolbox, and in that toolbox, one of the frameworks is a dynamic called STOP. Strategy, tools, operations, and people. What's my strategy? To get through this doomsday moment. Who are the people that I'm gonna have partnering with me to help me get through it? What do I operationally need to do? With the insurance, with the car, with my dad, with his logistics, with the doctors, with me getting better, with my daughter to and from. What tools do I have? So I sat down and I mapped it out. And when I saw it, I'm like, okay, here's a game plan. I can get through this, and I can get through this with people engaged with me because they're part of the strategy, and I can onboard them to that. Great. Then I went to the impact chart, also in track 1. I said, okay, what's the final impact that I expect from this? Well, the impact that I expect from this is to be able to come out ahead and fill the 2-month gap. I have created a gap. It's a 2-month delay. And how are we going to close that 2-month gap? Well, the final impact is to get to that hard launch. I had an original date and try to keep it. Well, to do that, I had to go back. What's the input that I need? What do I need to do? What outputs am I going to get from that? What results and what outcomes? So I mapped that out. Oh, got another game plan. I have my strategy. I know what the impact is. I know what information I need to flow in what direction. I got into the fact that I need to be able to look at education as education, real life readiness. And in that, I really took a hard look at collaborative practices. When we share our hard moments with structure and with process, then we're able to collaborate with others to reach that impact that we want. So I went through that. And then I moved on to track 2. And I started looking back at that impact chart. Which data do I have and what insights can I extract from that? And then I got the insight. I woke up in the middle of the night and then I realized that the biggest insight that I have is putting you through my journey of the gap that I have and how this all works. So that's why I'm doing this. And this is where these episodes are going to go in the next couple of weeks as I try to catch up. And then I went on, I'm reading this here, to one of the classes talks about leading the process. When you're in a doomsday moment, or when you feel like life is just like boggling you down, we tend to just give into it. Just kind of resign ourselves to the moment. Oh, what else am I supposed to do? Or this is all that I've got so much to do that I can't do anything else. Well, lead the process. Can I lead myself out of this? What tools do I have in the toolbox, in the GapTracks toolbox? Well, then I went to the final one, which is where we are today. And that final one, it's not the final assignment, it's where I got to in GapTracks before I came to tell you about it. There's one called You're Not Alone. And in You're Not Alone, we do a deep, profound assignment, which is like a coin on 2 sides. I see myself as, and there's a neurolinguistic challenge in it. And the other side of the coin is I am seen as. Well, I did that assignment. And I'm not going to tell you what came out of it, because I really think you should go, when you're on GapTracks, I want you to stick to the one that's there, that I did, the sample that we give that's really dynamic on screen, so on and so forth. I want you to be able to go through that. But I see myself as, and as I was going through that, I mean, I have to admit, I saw myself as self-loathing, victim to circumstance. And then people see me as, well, over the last 2 months, people are like, wow, I can't believe you're still doing this. There's a gap in perception. And that gap between how I feel about myself and how other people are perceiving me as I'm trudging through this, I realized that gap in perception really needed to be talked about. It needed to be communicated. I did the entire exercise and I sat down with everyone around me and I said, I need you to see me as I see myself. Well, since I've done these exercises, since I've gone through it, we're back on track. Well, we still have a 2-month gap to close, but we outlined it, we put out the tools, framework, the team's on board, and we're going to keep going. So yes, I created a gap with myself while launching GapTracks. And yes, I took my own class, or I'm taking it still because I still have tracks 3 and 4 to go through, to be able to get through this terribly difficult moment. This is not made for me. I did this for you because it works, and because it's worked for 35 years. It's never been available to an individual before. This is why we did the platform. So if you feel like life is biting you in the butt, if you feel self-loathing, if you feel like everything is too much, you can do it, because I know that you're stronger than I am. See you there.